Nevix is technically a flex tank, right?
Yeah.
Off tank.
Yeah.
Like if they play Diva, they're the off tank.
Even though he's probably better on other roles.
Oh, okay, we get it. You like EU players.
Alright, welcome back to the Hot Pot Podcast with Sen, Bonnie, and Becky. We went on a Lunar New Year hiatus because that's a special time for all of us, the three of us. And also my mom was visiting me and it was an emotional time. And also I had a chapter of my dissertation due, so it was also a very good excuse. Lunar New Year was a great excuse for me to sort of peace out for a little bit. But now we're back. And what are we doing this week, Bonnie?
Well, before we explain what we're doing this week, Sen, don't you have a little bit of an announcement?
Crab emoji. Sen is gone. Crab emoji. So
Sen, what happened?
I went and got my Twitter account suspended because of a little friendly joking, a little bit of banter between friends.
And I got caught by the Twitter algorithm.
Yeah, I told my friend I was gonna go and kill her in real life, and now
So now
I'm the
you're
one
in
who's
Twitter
dead.
prison.
I'm being arrested for Twitter crimes.
Oh my god.
See, the thing is, right, like 2 weeks ago, I actually ordered one of those crab hats. Because I wanted to make a X is gone joke. But it turns out that was prophetic, and I am the one who was gone.
Are you gonna come back? Have you appealed to the Twitter board?
Yes, I have appealed to Jack Twitter and tried to explain to him that it was merely in jest, a little friendly banter, so to speak.
Sometimes you just tell your friend you want to kill him. It's fine.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
I want my
It's a very
friends to kill
normal
me.
thing. Just joshing around.
If one of my friends were to murder me, I would thank them for finally giving me what I want.
Eternal relief.
And you wouldn't want to die by anyone else's hand, would you?
No, of course not.
Exactly.
I would be honored for either of you to kill me.
Oh.
Well,
Wow.
thank you, Sen, for your message. Now we're moving on to what we're going to be talking about in this episode. So what we're going to be doing in this episode is... Oh, in this special pre-OWL episode, right before Overwatch League starts up again, is fantasy drafts.
Woohoo!
So, I don't know how many listeners have been using Winston's Lab or like, I forgot what the other website is called, High Noon or
Is
something,
that the website?
to make fantasy drafts. But yes, we thought it would be fun if we did a little mini draft with the three of us, and we built some teams, some hypothetical Overwatch League teams. So it will be kind of like the Winston's Lab draft, and then it'll go Becky, me, Sen, then Sen, me, and Becky, in order of pick. And we cannot duplicate, and we will do it by role as well, so just so we're always on the same page. And yeah, after we pick each player, we will explain a little bit about why we picked that player.
Oh shit, really?
Yes, we will, because otherwise it would be way too short.
Oh no. But I
Yeah.
have no reason.
Oh, no.
I follow my gut, my heart.
So let's begin. Our first role is DPS. Now we chose not to split into like main DPS or flex DPS because those roles no longer have any meaning. So we'll just go like, yeah, just generally DPS. Becky, you pick first.
Carpe.
Okay. I don't think you need to explain that, but why don't you?
No explanation. Oh, goddamn. I think he clearly has a depth in his hero pool, but more importantly, I think he is able to make the key plays exactly when you need him to, and that was really aptly demonstrated at the World Cup. And that's also why, he was chosen as a member. So, yeah, there it is.
Yes. Very good reasoning. And I think, like, pretty much every fantasy draft I've been in, someone's picked Carpe first. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, it would be Carpe and Jonak are, like, the two players that you always want to pick first. So whoever gets flex support, first pick on flex support in this draft is gonna have a very easy time.
All right. Bonnie.
All right. For my first DPS, I will pick Crystal from Hangzhou Spark because I think he will play a lot. I think he is a very... I mean, I would say underrated. People know he's good, but I don't think people know just how good he is. Like, for his entire career, he's been on, like, this middling-ish team. And he was able to stand out a lot on that team. Like, he was, like, clearly the best player on that team. And he never really got his chance to shine on, like, a team that's better, you know? Or a team that's up to his standard. Kind of like Fleta. Like the Fleta of China.
Go on, yeah.
Why was that so amusing to you?
No, it's just like, because Fleta's days of that were supposed to be over, but somehow they're not.
Well, I believe in Hangzhou Spark. But yeah, even now Fleta's still the best player on a team that doesn't deserve him.
Yep.
Yep.
I believe in Hangzhou Spark. I believe in Crystal. So I'm picking him as my DPS.
That's a beautiful inspirational speech, Bonnie. Thank you.
Can I make my joke? I want to... The F in Fleta stands for F to pay respects.
You know what? If you think about it, they are quite similar. Both of them have one facial expression. And they don't like talking. So it's kind of a perfect comparison.
Oh.
Anyway, Sen, your pick.
Architect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good choice. Explain.
He's my orange boy.
Oh. That's a good reason.
I told you I'm gonna be picking base purely on emotion.
But like as someone who also does social for the team, and like maybe you get to see footage of him, is there something about him that you find like actually quite charming as a player?
I guess I picked Architect because I think he's a consistent player, but also he has like real explosive potential, and he's like one of... Oh no, you know what? I wouldn't say... I was gonna say one of, if not the best Genji player in the world, but I don't believe that's true. I think he's one of the best Genji players in the world.
Yeah.
Not the best. Sorry, Architect. But yeah. Also, he's my orange boy, and I was deprived of the San Francisco Shock players in my other fantasy league, so I'm trying to collect as many of them as I can.
Okay.
I got Architect in that league.
I only got Sinatra. My single SF boy.
I got Architect, and everyone was like, Architect, really? Well, you know San Francisco Shock's got like 5 DPSs, right? He's never gonna play it. And I was like, I know, but I don't care. I want him.
Like, ahem. He'll see some play.
You'll see some play.
Yeah, he's good.
All right, so Sen, you're going again. Yeah, for main tank.
For main tank. Well, I'm gonna take Mono Overwatch purely the Spite Bunny.
Oh shit, really?
This is horrible.
Holy shit.
I should not have put myself in second. I'm the most disadvantaged position.
You are most disadvantaged. I don't know why you did that to yourself.
Pick. I don't know how drafts work.
This is exactly how we're doing it correctly right now.
Okay.
Sen, you picked... I can't even say his name to you.
But yes, my reason is I wanted to Spite Bunny.
Wow.
Cold-blooded.
It's okay.
Shit just got real.
You can take Hyuje Hong off of me. I won't cry.
I don't think I want Ryuje Hong.
That's actually the greater insult, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't even want him. I don't even want him.
That hurts me deeply.
Alright, so Sen took Mono, which is New York XL. Bonnie?
Well, joke's on you. Not really. The joke is very much on me still. But, since I can no longer think with my heart, I will go for the most logical pick, which is Jester.
God fucking damn it, Sen! You've cocked it up for all of us! I was gonna take Jester!
Sen.
God fucking
I should have
damn it,
used my
Fox!
brain. I should have used my brain instead of trying to be mean to Bunny.
Oh, God damn it.
Well, I'm yoinked Jester now because no explanation necessary. Since you're
Can we do a redo? Because I actually really want Gusha.
no, we cannot do a retake.
Can we do a retake?
No retakes in this one.
Fine, Mono's mine now, and you can never have him.
I know, and I've made my peace with that. Anyway, I have Jester because, well, since you're both Lunatic High fans, I don't need to explain that to you. But
Don't hurt me.
Wow! Shit just got real.
Wow.
Jester is an excellent main tank. He has no. I would say like maybe his Reinhardt is a little lacking at some points, but other than that, he has like no noticeable weaknesses, and he's excellent individually and with the rest of his team. So that is why I have selected Jester. Becky.
Alright, I'm picking Bumper.
Oh, excellent.
Oh.
Bumper recognition.
Well, I mean, I think in general he has been missing from a lot of best main tank discussions just by the fact that he has encompassed so many roles over his time in Overwatch, and people still remember him on Diva, on Lucio, like just kind of these random roles until he finally settled on main tank in the last season of Contenders that he was in and showed what he was capable of. What he showed was that he's fucking amazing. He's one of the best main tanks. He was one of the best main tanks in that entire season. And part of it has to do with the fact that, like, Runaway kind of, you could visibly see them investing all their resources in Bumper sometimes. Yeah. But sometimes that's what it takes. And I think, you know, the fact that they put all their resources in him is in and of itself indicative of what he can do.
It's the eye of the Bumper. I really like Bumper as a tank precisely because he's played different roles before. Like, he has support experience. He has off-tank experience. So he, like, that kind of changes the way he plays, you can tell. And I enjoy that because I like a tank who knows how to protect his supports.
He knows what it means to suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think there needs to be, like, a conversation, like, maybe an article or something written on, like, main tanks or, like, positions that have other position experience. So this is also true for Mono, right? Mono used to be a Lucio main.
You're right.
He switched over to main tank.
That's why I originally liked him. I stand Lucio players because I was a Lucio one trick.
Okay, flex support, Becky.
Flex support, I will. Oh, mother. No, because so you took Gesture, which is why I went for Bumper. I actually didn't even have a backup for Gesture. I thought I was going to get it. What? That's dumb. But this is just going to make me seem like some kind of runaway Vancouver stan because I'm going to go for Twilight.
Really?
But I, like, loved Twilight since Convox, when he was actually weirdly a Sombra main. That was sort of what
I
he was
remember
known for.
that. He, like, pioneered that entire Sombra playstyle.
And I think, you know, obviously he hasn't played that role in a while, and, you know, he's been just a pretty standard flex support for quite a while, but I still think that kind of versatility is really cool. I think as flex support, he's been incredibly consistent.
Yeah, I don't think, like, he's not, like, the flashiest player, but he does his job. Yeah, okay, well, now that you've taken Twilight, I can... Jonak. I'm picking Jonak.
Shocking.
Yeah. Again, I don't need to explain it very much, but... Yes, Jonak, you know, what can I say? Reinvented Zenyatta, etc., etc. We've all heard it before. They talk about it 5 times a week on the broadcast. Yes, I have selected him. I don't know how well he would perform in a team that's not NYXL, but I don't want to bet against him because he is just very talented and very good at Overwatch. Yeah. So, there you go. Okay, Sen?
I said I'm picking with my heart, not my head. I'm just gonna go with Uja. I love how you started typing it before I even said it.
You're like, not even a question.
Listen, Uja Hong can be flexible. He can play a variety of roles, as evidenced by his brief stint on Winston last season.
Well, also, he used to be a
He used to be
Zarya
a Zarya
main.
player, yeah. He used to be a Zarya player. And so I remember when he pulled Zarya out and everyone was really surprised, but it's like, that's not exactly surprising. That's what he used to play on like one of the earlier iterations of Lunatic High. As long as he doesn't pull out the Ryuji, I'm happy.
Alright, Sen, you go again to pick
Oh, for DPS? Okay.
the second DPS. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna go with Striker.
Striker.
First of
Another
all,
SF
because
boy.
he's a orange boy, and that is my goal after all, to collect them all.
No.
But also, I think he is an incredible hit scan player, as evidenced by his real, what would you call it? His not stint, his performance. That's the word. I know English. On Boston last season. But yes, I'm not sure if the meta really favors his heroes at the moment, but who knows, that'll change throughout the season, I hope.
We'll see. We'll see. You know, who knows? Because Prophet wasn't exactly known for being a Hanzo player before finals, and then he came out and everyone was like, oh, he's a Hanzo player.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for mentioning Prophet, by the way.
God fucking damn it.
Because that's my next pick.
Alright, Prophet.
Okay, so I don't know, okay, fantasy drafts are weird because I don't know what, universe this is. Is this, is, assuming every single team disbanded and now we're, the gods of Overwatch League allowed to pick up the pieces in whatever order we want. But, whatever it is.
Wow, great AU.
Yeah, Overwatch League AU, where we're, allowed to make our own teams. We three are, we got our $20 million, we deposited them directly into Blizzard's bank account, and now we're making our teams.
Nice.
So I pick Prophet because, well, Gesture is my main tank. And Prophet and Gesture are an excellent duo, in any meta, really. Yes, I think main tank and DPS synergy is super important, and I don't think it gets touched upon enough. Watching them play in Apex Season 4 was really what made me realize, how good Winston and Tracer was as a duo. How important it was for their team specifically, but also for every other team to be able to do well. So, yes, Prophet and Gesture are, I think, very important to each other being good as well. So, I select Prophet, also because he is just very good individually as well. Alright, so Becky, who is your next DPS pick?
I am going back to my home base fandom, and I'm going to go with Flutta.
The Crystal of Korea.
Which is, it's pretty, weirdly, I think my team is going to look like half World Cup. I think he hadn't practiced Brig that much with the team, but I think he was really integral during the World Cup as Brig, which is just so key in that comp, the triple comp. And it was just I think he demonstrated a kind of adaptability where he switched between Brig and Junkrat and Pharah, and he did well.
Yeah. I mean, Fleta is a very good player, and I've always liked him. I remember when he joined Lunatic High, I was so fucking happy.
Yeah, I was really hyped.
I was like, yes, finally, Fleta's gonna be on a team that's as good as he is. And then he wasn't.
You jinxed it. You jinxed
it. It's okay. Hey, I'm sure I wasn't the only person who was excited about that, okay?
Okay. It's me for off-tech, right?
Yes.
Bonnie, I'm so sorry.
Oh, God.
But, I mean, the thing is, though, there is really no other choice.
I know. Go ahead.
So I'm gonna go with Fury Overwatch.
Yeah.
You know better than anyone that you were so instrumental in convincing me of how much head and shoulders above everyone else Fury Overwatch really was.
Yeah. It's my own fault. I did it to myself.
You did. And also you have Jester and Jonak. Like, get it. Like,
Okay.
relax.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so are you going to talk a bit about it, or?
No.
Okay. Well, if you would like to know why Fury is such a good off-tank, you can just refer to my Twitter page. Direct any questions to me. I will respond to them in a timely manner. So my pick for off-tank is kind of funny, actually, because we're splitting up each other's tank duos, basically, but I'm going to take Janu. Yeah. Well, we get
he was my pick!
we're going to get Jay Jonak and Jay Janu. And here's why. I think Janu's, like, again, another underrated but not underrated player. I think people know he's good, but people don't pay attention to just how good he is.
Yeah.
Actually, in the article I put out today, I mentioned that he started off as a Reaper one-trick.
Which is hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, he started off as a Reaper one-trick. He failed to get into Runaway 3 times.
Oh, John.
And then on the 4th time, he got in as main support. And then they decided Bumper was better as main support, so he went to off-tank. And he, like, immediately, like, was incredible at it. Like, for someone who hadn't practiced it for that long. And I was watching a stream once. I think he had an account where, like, all he did was practice D.Va and Lucio. Like, those were the only 2 characters he played on that account.
Wow.
And it was, like a level, like, 300 and something. So
Holy crap.
that's the kind of, like, work ethic, the diligence that I really admire. So, yes, I like Janu, and he is my pick for off-tank. I'm sorry, Sen.
Ugh. Well, now I have to actually...
What, were you throwing around the name Nevix a bit earlier? Huh?
No?
I was. I think I'm gonna go with Void.
Oh.
God. I have a complicated relationship with Void, but yeah. Why don't you
Same.
explain?
Yeah, I think we... anybody who really paid attention to
Fisher stream?
Fish's stream, or...
Oh, New Panthera season 3? Season 4,
Yeah,
rather?
anybody, will understand. But also, I think anybody who paid attention to Void during that period as well, like, just his gameplay alone, he is a monster on
Oh,
D.Va.
agreed.
I am agreeing.
Begrudgingly.
All of my... Every time I get, like, a D.Va play on Overwatch, and I save it, all of them are titled, so this is what it feels like to be KDP Season 3 Void.
Oh, God. Okay. I first paid attention to Void when he, like, launched... I think they were playing against Rogue. He launched a bomb on Numbani, and he landed it so perfectly, right in, like, one of the doorways that Rogue was running into. And he killed, like, 3 of them. And I was like, holy shit. This guy practices.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah. So
I
that's why
remember.
every time I get a bomb on Numbani, I think, ha! Void bomb! And then I instantly hate myself for it. But yeah, I could talk a lot more about Void bombs, but it's okay. We don't need to make this episode longer than it needs to be.
I'm not gonna lie, Sen. Choi Hyobin was
Yeah.
right there.
I know, but...
Orange boy.
Is Sen really dedicated to her orange boys? Let's find out. But okay.
Discuss.
Yes, Sen
An
gets the
expose.
next role.
Sen
Main support.
Oh,
main
wait, do I?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck, did I even write anyone down for that?
Did you forget main supports exist?
Do we even
Jeez, what kind of
care?
former Lucio one trick are you?
God. Alright, I think I'm gonna go with...
Okay.
This is really difficult for me because I'm waffling between head and heart, right? No, it's heart and heart. I'm waffling between whether I want to pick Toby or Moth.
Mm.
I do believe Moth
Well-
is really, really good. But also, Toby and Jaehong duo. I don't want to break that up.
That duo.
I think, as it currently stands, my loyalty stands to the Orange Boys. I'm gonna have to go with Moth.
Alrighty.
Is there anything like particular about him that makes you want to pick him over Toby?
Good mercy.
Good mercy.
Actually,
see.
that's actually a very good point. 'Cause,
Yeah, Moth
right
is
now-
good on mercy.
Moth
Yeah.
can play Mercy. That's something Toby cannot do.
there are players who have to play Mercy, and then there are people who can play Mercy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it.
Oh, poor Toby.
I'm sorry,
Sorry.
Toby.
It's okay. Lucio's back, so
Bonnie?
I pick Yveltal from Chengdu Hunters.
That's not too surprising.
I like him a lot. During the game night, he was the only one who would talk to me.
Aww.
Well, like they all like responded in some capacity. They were like, "Yeah, okay," but he was the only one who said more than 2 words at once, which was nice. Also, he is very funny, and I think he is very talented. I think he will make his mark this season as one of the better main supports, or like Lucio players in general. I think his Lucio and his Mercy are equally good. Something that not a lot of main supports can say. Toby Overwatch. But yes, I like Yveltal a lot, so he is my main support.
Okay. I was waffling a lot between Koma and Animo for main support. Animo, I think, at this point, according to some players, has overtaken Toby as best Lucio. But I really rate Koma's sort of mental strength very highly.
Yes.
And so I think Koma edges it out for me, actually.
I had Karma written under other, which is why I was like, why don't I have a main support?
So we are now at other.
Oh, so this is just like free pick.
Yes, so
Yeah,
we have 2 other slots because like minimum in the league is 8 players. So just to be realistic about it, we all get 2 extra picks of any role. So go hog wild, Becky.
Oh god, this is so hard. Sabielby.
Oh no, I was gonna pick Sabiolvi. Whatever.
I picked Sabielby because even though perhaps he's best known for Tracer, he is best known for Tracer. I think his resilience is sometimes not recognized enough, and I think as a captain, he does a really good job. And yeah, he's just one of those players who comes through when it matters. So yeah.
I was also gonna pick Sabiolvi for my first other slot because I think every team needs like a strong leader figure.
Yeah.
And he is that. So people are speculating on who NYXL is going to play in terms of DPS. And obviously I don't know how much Sabiolvi is going to play this season. Or in this meta rather. But he definitely will always be like one of the most important parts of the roster anyway, even if he's not playing. Just like his presence is very, steady and like an emotional anchor for everyone. Like if you watch the NYXL documentary, at the end they have like a whole section about how he was very reassuring after they lost in playoffs and such. Very heartwarming. Highly recommend that documentary. But we'll move on to my pick now. I will pick. My gut is pushing me towards Stitch for some reason, so I'm gonna say Stitch. I have no particular reason for that.
Other than he's really good.
He's very good. I often think of Sabiolvi and Stitch as like counterparts, to be perfectly honest, because both of them were seen primarily as like Tracer one tricks, and people often ignore that they're very good at like other hitscan heroes as well, like excellent at other hitscan heroes. So yeah, for no other reason, I often associate those two in my mind, even though they're nothing alike outside of the game. But I will pick Stitch because I also think he is a fan favorite, and that will bring in more fans for my unnamed team. So there you go. I'm thinking outside the game as well. Okay, Sen, go ahead.
I'm gonna pick Libero, who I thought Bonnie was going to pick. Honestly,
Yeah, I was considering it.
yeah, I just
pick
think
Saya player next.
I think Libero has such great flex potential. Just his hero pool is probably the biggest in the league. I don't know anybody who really plays as many heroes as he does, with like at that level, or over.
Wow,
as many
rag on
matches.
Rascal, jeez.
Yeah, but Rascal was only in the league. You know what I mean. I actually really considered picking Rascal. So next round I could get Bird Ring and I could reunite Bird Skull on my team. But
I was gonna do that actually. I was gonna pick Rascal for my first DPS pick, but I was worried Sen would think that I was cucking her specifically. But it would have been for the sake of Bird Skull, and I hope you would have stepped aside for that.
as
Like-
once you explained it, I would have understood. But then like
Yeah.
Bird Skull was my plan until I thought about it, and I kind of want Libero.
Okay. So you have pick again. Your final
Oh.
player.
I'm gonna go with Panka.
Panker
Oh.
Overwatch! Sorry, I love Panker.
Yeah, I've been a fan of
You love
since
Panker.
like Kondu and CL.
Aww.
Yeah, so finally he's mine. Panker Overwatch, if you hear this, please follow. No, you can't follow me back on twitter.com. I'm gone, I'm dead.
Sen's dead on Twitter now.
But also, I think it's
Killed by one of us.
Panka was actually one of my choices if I didn't want to cook Bonnie.
Ugh. But you did.
I did. I'm sorry.
You did.
And you cucked both of us in the process.
I cooked
Oh,
Becky
jeez.
as well.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, so my final pick. Oh man, I wish I could get Lee J gone. I wish I could. Someday he's gonna be in this
I
league.
know.
Okay,
I know,
when
when
he
I was
gets into this league, we're gonna do
planning my
another fantasy draft. I'm gonna put myself first, and I'm gonna put main support first so I can get Lee J gone. Anyway,
You heard it here first, folks.
yeah, I'm gonna rig the system just so I can get him. Okay. I think the thing is, like, a lot of my team is very indispensable. I think the one that could be swapped out would be Yveltal. So I'll think about main supports.
Okay.
I'm completely blanking on main supports.
Slime.
Okay, Slime maybe. Okay, I'll pick Slime. Just because he and Koma are kind of rivals, so that had that
Oh,
yeah
sure,
that we got
yeah.
that dynamic now. Because like, remember that round on Ilios where they just like they both got like 15 boop kills.
Oh, so good. That well was
That
so
was
full of
so
dead bodies, dude.
terrifying. You know, as a Runaway fan, that round was the scariest shit I have ever seen in my life.
That round was terrible. That round shaved like 10 years off my life.
Yeah, it was like Koma got 9 boops, but Slime got 10. And that's why Runaway managed to win the round and ultimately the series. It was so scary. I remember I was like doubled up on my couch, like, oh please God, oh please God.
I feel like that game actually like topped Apex Season 3 for me. Not just because it went to Game 8, which is like fucking ridiculous, but
Yeah.
it was, you know, there were a lot of storylines there.
Yeah. Also, I found out after the game that if they had drawn on King's Row, Call of Duty Panthera would have just auto won.
Whoa.
And like, I didn't know that. I was like, oh wow, I should have been way more worried during the game. I'm glad I didn't know that then, or I would have probably like cried like mid game of stress. But anyway, that's like a tangent. Okay, final draft pick, Becky, yours.
Okay, so I kind of can't believe this worked, and it was kind of dirty, but I like casually said slime just because I wanted Nuss. I was hoping you wouldn't think of it. But we just started talking about players who can play Mercy, and Nuss, I think, is actually very underrated in terms of how much he does. He's like a very quiet, consistent main healer, main support for that team. And he's also like just he's like one of those players whose IRL personality is quite sweet to boot.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's so small and cute.
He is very small.
And he knows how to play Mercy.
I
Something
know.
that a lot of main supports cannot say.
Listen. There was a time when you just had to play Lucio, and that was it.
Just had to wall
Okay.
ride to win.
It was not a bad time.
I miss it.
Alright.
I
So
know.
we've got our final rosters. So Becky, we have DPS. I wish I could do the Apex announcer voice, but
DPS, Carpe.
Carpe, Fleda, and then Tank. wait, there's also Sebiobi,
Sebiobi.
Tank, Bumper, Fury, Support, Twilight, Coma, Nuss. So, where do you think this team would rank among current OWL teams? And I say, like, current OWL teams, like, imagine these players got cloned and then got put on different teams, and then the clones got put on a team together. Because, like, yeah, just consider it that way.
Are we
So where
assuming
do you
they
think
have?
this team would rank?
I think it would actually do pretty good. So, I think it might depend on the synergy, any synergy that what synergy Carpe and Bumper could get. Because in terms of like supports doing their job, I think I have 3 very dependable, very like always consistent supports. And I have a flex tank who is literally a god. So
I'll say.
so I think
We'll say.
I think it's, and it's not even like synergy between Bumper and Fleda. I think it has to be synergy between Bumper and Carpe.
What, like, around what place would you think they would finish?
Oh, top tier, like top 3.
Nice. Yeah, that's fair, actually. Okay, so for mine, I'm not going to do the announcer voice again. My DPSs were Crystal, Prophet, and Stitch. Tank line, Gesture, Janu, and supports Jonak, Yveltal, and Slime. So, pretty good roster, I think. The biggest issue would, kind of like Hangzhou Spark, the biggest issue would just be like language barrier.
Yeah,
they would have to get over that for Crystal and Yveltal, especially Yveltal because he's like main support. So like he would have to talk a lot, and they would have to figure out how to do that. So that would be a pretty big obstacle for them to overcome. But I think if they were actually able to do it, then they would be able to compete with the top tier as well. So, because just the individual talent on this team is like staggering. So yeah. And Sen's team, we've got the DPSs, Architect, Striker, and Libero. Tank line, Mono, Void, and Panker. And supports Ryuje Hong, Moth. That's it. Okay, Ryuje Hong and Moth. So,
as Becky started talking about synergy, I came to the realization that Moth is my only Western player, and he's on main support. And his duo is gonna be Ryuje Hong. So how the hell are they gonna communicate? That's when I realized I made a huge mistake.
You don't know what'll happen.
It'll be like Custa at All Stars. The only thing he'll know what to say is "bong me."
Bong me.
Bong me. I mean, the thing is, like, first of all, I would also like to make clear, like, I definitely had 2 or 3 Western players on my backup list. I also had Moth on, like, my main support backup. And
I had Space.
I had Space, too. I love Space.
Yeah.
Space is also just... Space and Hydration, I feel like, should have their own TV show where they're just, like, 2 non-weed-smoking stoners just shooting the shit and, like, talking about whatever, because I think they're both like really hilarious in this very low-key way.
Yeah, like a deadpan humor.
Yeah, they're very deadpan. I love it.
Yeah. Well, the thing about fantasy draft is you don't need to worry about any of that shit. You just gotta pick the best players. So, Sen, where do you think this would stack up?
Probably not top tier. But
No.
I think these players are okay. It's just
I think they're pretty
just
good.
not sure. No, see the thing is, individually, these are all good players. I'm just not sure about like synergy-wise how they would work together. I guess I have 3 San Francisco Shock players and then like 2 Gladiators and 2 Nixels plus Ryuje Hong.
Plus Ryuje Hong, he's there.
He's there. He's just there to have a good time. But so I suppose that wouldn't be too big of an issue. But I'm just concerned about Lee Jae-hong.
As always.
I mean, the thing is, though, you also have, there's intangibles, right? Besides the stats, like you have him as a player that really, and I'm not even kidding, so many players look up to.
He's also like, I think he's so important as in sort of an in-game pillar of support as well, because he really had to take up that mantle
sure.
after Asuka left.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because he is significantly older than a lot of players.
He became a single
so
parent.
Yeah, he has that.
Oh,
He really has that sort of older brother energy.
yeah.
No, fair reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that is all of them. Sen, if you would like to say the intro, that is one line.
The intro? Outro?
The outro, that is, would you like to say your outro?
Yes, my outro, which I've written, which is one line, which is, thank you for listening to our fantasy draft! Fantasy draft is, I've said it like that because I typed it in all caps with 3 exclamation points. But yes, thank you for listening to our fantasy draft here on Hot Pot.
Yes, that's the name of the podcast. Well
that
done.
is the name of the podcast. We are Sen, Bonnie, and Becky, and we hope you've enjoyed listening to us talk about why we would pick what players we would pick if we had an extra 20 mil lying around.
I think it's more than that now.
Yeah, probably.
Well, you got 20 million. You got to pay the players' salaries. You got to pay the staff salaries.
Yeah, you can't just be 20 mil. Remember when Rogue got rejected even though they had 20 mil?
Yeah.
Are you telling me I can't just exploit labor?
No, you can't. I'm sorry, Becky.
Listen, we'll pay the
God
players
damn it.
in exposure.
Poor people start complaining about it, and then it's like a whole thing all over like Twitter and shit. You can't just do
I
that.
can't believe I can't just pay people in exposure.
Yeah, sometimes there's consequences for your actions nowadays. It's crazy.
Come on, we'll just plug their stream link once in a while, and then we'll let them
Yeah.
live in a house. Anyway,
That sounds good to me.
thanks for tuning in to Hot Pot with Sen, Bonnie, and Becky. And you can find us at OW Hot Pot on Twitter. So if there's anything you guys want to listen to us talk about, let us know. And thanks for listening. Bye.
See you next time.
Bye.